I'm Daniel Jinadu, professional footballer at Maidenhead United. Came through the academy system at Chelsea, Westham, been at Barnsley, been at Dartford, Margate, and then currently at Maidenhead now.
Oh, living the dream, living the dream. Thank you, God.
I've also studied alongside my football. So I've done my A-level, got A in A-level psychology, and also have a first-class degree. The central mission is to ensure that every footballer who comes through the academy system or plays football has a second plan A and is more equipped to handle life beyond football. And today, I'm going to be telling you all about life beyond football. So I started playing football. This is the staple question, eh? How did it all begin? Well, for me, it started in Ireland. So I grew up playing football in Ireland. I actually started, before playing football, I played Gaelic football in primary school when I was younger. But I started playing football when I was around 7 years old, and I followed my older brother to training. And they needed a goalkeeper. So went in goal for them in training and enjoyed it, done well, and then ended up signing for my own local Sunday league team. And then around 2014, my family decided to relocate over to England. And then, I wanted to go directly, straight transfer from like an Irish academy to English academy over here, but it didn't work out as planned. So when I moved over here to the area that I lived in, I played for my local district for a good few months, and I was going in goal, enjoying it. We were winning quite a few games, we were doing well. We went on a little cup run. And then one day we were playing a team, and I think we ended up winning like 2-0 or something, but I actually assisted in the game. So back then, just raw goalkeeper, and I had the ball. I did a little drop kick, and obviously it bounced into the box of the other team, and then the striker went on and scored. And I actually then saved a penalty in the second half as well, so had an amazing game. So I was just showering after the game, as you do on a Sunday, and then my brother just comes in and he's banging on the door. He's saying, bam, 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 bam. You got scouted by Chelsea. You got scouted by Chelsea. And I was just like, no way. I was just like, nah, stop it. You're capping, man. Stop it. You're capping. Like, I didn't believe him. I just went on, continued showering and everything. He's still banging. You got scouted by Chelsea. And it wasn't until my mum came in, they were banging on the door. She came into the bathroom and she said, yeah, you got scouted by Chelsea. Got scouted by Chelsea. I was just like, wow, I was so gassed. I ran out. I was like half naked, ran around all around the house. I was just screaming. After that trial period, I ended up getting signed by Chelsea. Signed my first contract there. And had some amazing experiences going on tour. Went on tour to Germany, we went to Croatia, went to the Netherlands, we went to Belgium and we played in the KDB Cup. So it was just amazing experiences. And then, from there, under 13s all the way to under 15s, I then was called up to play for England internationally at under 15 level, which was amazing experience. Yeah, so I progressed on, had some amazing experience, amazing development zone in the academy at Chelsea. And then moving on the years, I ended up getting released. I actually started crying in the meeting, and I was just like, wow, like it's quite deep, because that's what it meant to, obviously the amount of work that parents put into their sons, their child's experiences in order to help them make it. Me and my agent and my family decided to sign for Westham. So I signed my scholarship at Westham, my pre-scholar at Westham. So I did my transfer from Chelsea to Westham in the December of, I think it was December of 2017. So then, it was going really well. After signing for Westham, I was playing under 18s as under 16s, doing my thing, and just continue to develop as a goalkeeper, and then bang. I done my knee. I tore my MCL ligament 2 days before I was supposed to play in the FA Youth Cup as a first year scholar. Grade 2 tear in my MCL. It was devastating. Just knowing that the prospects that were there, the different opportunities that I was gonna end up missing. Youth Cup, there was potential opportunity for me to play for Ireland in the under 17 Euros at that time. These different opportunities, but I missed out on them. The thing that really helped me during that difficult period was the fact that I was studying. So I was studying my A-level in psychology at that time, and it helped me have something else to focus on. It's helped me to switch off during that difficult period and really concentrate on something else and put my energy into something else whilst I couldn't play football in that period of time. So it's something I'm really passionate. So my education was what I had beyond football to help me. So, you know, after being a scholar at Westham, facing my injury, coming back, you know, thankfully I came back, no problems. Went to the GA Cup in America, in Dallas, and then COVID happened. And it was a difficult experience. You know, right in the period where we were finding out about our professional contracts. But also just before that period, I actually went and I played in the under 17 World Cup in Brazil for Nigeria in 2019, which was one of the biggest highlights of my career so far. You know, playing for my home country as first choice goalkeeper in such a big tournament. It was inspiring, it was motivating. It pressed me, or it pushed me more. A great experience, and then thankfully I then got offered my professional contract at Westham, which was a dream come true. You know, after all the setbacks, the releases, the journeys, you know, I always said that, you know, I'll be so grateful when I finally signed my professional contract, you know, because it would be like all the hard work was worth it in the end. And it was, man. It was amazing, man. A proud moment for me and my family signing my first pro. But yeah, that first professional contract was a difficult experience because, you know, being a 18-year-old goalkeeper in the under 23, it's got like 2 goalkeepers ahead of me, so I didn't really play much. I think I went the whole season at West Ham being a first year pro without playing 190 minutes. I only played 1 game for the under 23s against Liverpool, where I came on where the goalkeeper got injured. Other than that, I didn't really get any opportunity. So I wasn't offered another contract extension at the end of that season. And then I went to Barnsley FC in the Championship. So, you know, during that season when I knew I wasn't going to get another contract, I went on trial to Barnsley, played 3 games for them, keeping 3 clean sheets. So I ended up signing as third choice goalkeeper for Barnsley in the Championship at a good age. So it was, you know, it was good. You know, I'm grateful that I got another opportunity to keep on going again. But the behind the scenes weren't all rosy because, you know, going from West Ham to Barnes, you have to take a 50% pay cut. And when I heard that that's the contract they were offering me, I wanted to cry, man. It was pain. It was pain, but, you know, sometimes you have to do those type of things in order to think about your development in the long term. So, yeah, I played for Barnsley with the first team. First time being in the first team environment. I was number 13 in the Championship. First team change room, name, number on the back, like living the dream as a professional footballer. And then just before the season was about to start, boom. I tore my PCL in my left leg. PCL ligament done, broke. I was in a brace again. I was out for another 12 weeks. And it was tough. But this one there, it was really minor setback for major comeback. It's a situation where God really used my difficulties as a testimony, because during that period I actually documented my journey, my PCL recovery journey. I went on YouTube at that time and I was trying to look at people who've gone through similar things. I couldn't find any, so I was like, cool, me being me, let me do it, let me create a PCL journey so everyone knows like the step-by-step process in order to recover from a PCL injury. So literally week by week I was documenting my journey, going to get my MRI scan, visiting the the knee doctor, my exercises in the gym, the brace that I had to wear, me in the physio room, real insight into what it's like, recovering from that injury. And then I was back. So I ended up, having a good season, coming back from injury, playing for the 23s whilst being on the bench in the championship a few times. And then, that season, Barnsley had a difficult season and they ended up getting relegated. So it was tough for the club. And, when I signed for Barnsley, they were just in the playoffs, about to go into the Premier League with Valerian Ismail as the manager. But, once they got playoffs, everything, the whole backroom staff got bought and went and left the club. So it was a complete turnover of staff. So the goalkeeper coach who signed me changed. The CEO who signed me changed. And at the end of the season, the CEO having a meeting with me, he was just like, "You're not in my plans." So it's another bang to the chest, another rejection. Again, I was released from Barnsley. And I went from being on the bench in the championship, almost making my debut, to playing for a step or a step 5 team in Blackpool. I can't even remember what it was called now. But in the space of 2 or 3 months, I dropped like how many levels because I was struggling to find another club. Following my release from Barnsley, I went on trial to Carlisle in League 2. I went to Chesterfield in the National League. I went to Bohemians, where I played against Union Berlin in front of 20,000 fans in Germany. I went to just so many different places just to try and get opportunity. I went to Blackpool, where I trained with them whilst they were in the championship as well, but there was no opportunity there. But yeah, football can change quickly, and it was a very, very dark period. And I think I went 1 or 2 weeks where I just went into my own shell, didn't speak to anyone, was just really distraught as the fact that, like, once again, I have no club. I'm known as this footballer, but I have no club again. It's really embarrassing. I didn't want to speak to anyone. But that's why another real reason why I'm so passionate about having an identity beyond football, because thankfully I had my education to focus on, my university degree to obviously to take pride in as well. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have anything else, and once they get released from that academy system, it can be so tough. So that was the start of my journey into non-league football. And when you're coming through the academy system, you ain't got a Scooby about what non-league football is. How tough, how brutal, how ruthless it is. So yeah, I signed for Dartford in the National League South, and then went on loan to Margate, which I then played around 40, 50 games. And then we won Kent Senior Cup against Chatham Town at Priestfield Stadium, which I won man of the match in. And then that was a nice little stepping stone to allow me to be where I'm at now, at Maidenhead United, in which this season I went on loan to Dover, played some games in National South. So I've over 60 men's senior games under my belt. So all those coaches, all those clubs that I went to that said, we want a more experienced older goalkeeper, I'm getting those minutes now, getting those details, so that they can't really say that anymore. So yeah, that's how it is now, today, present. The aim is still the same. The dream is still the same. I want to play in the Premier League one day. So I aspire to keep pressing on and doing everything I can to make that possible. And I believe I have what it takes. Yeah, so despite all the setbacks, the releases, been released, I don't know, 3 or 4 times now. What keeps me motivated, or what keeps me going, is my family and also my faith in God. So I'm a believer. I'm a believer in God. I'm a Christian. So despite everything that happens in football, releases, rejections, play bad, injuries, I'm still loved by God. I found my identity, my purpose in being a child of God. And that's what keeps me motivated, because I know that despite all these things, I'm blessed. I'm still enough. Football, there's more to me than beyond football. So that's where I get the drive to keep pushing forward, to keep driving on. And also I'm very competitive, so when I say I want to do something, play at the highest level, I make sure I do everything I might to try and get to that level and achieve it and accomplish it. So that's what keeps me pushing, keeps me going on to get stuff done. The main 3 tips that I give to people on my videos on how I balance football and university is, number 1 is discipline. So I'm a real passionate advocate for discipline, because discipline is what will set you free in those circumstances and situations. You can't rely on motivation. Discipline is what's really important. When I came home after a bad game or after a bad training session, I can't just say, I can't be asked to revise or do my assignment and that. I've got to stay disciplined and say, okay, cool, this is what I've signed up for. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna make sure I put in my full effort into it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is being proactive. Proactivity is one of the biggest skills that you need to have in order to go beyond football, because the football schedule is so, erratic, unpredictable. So you need to have things in place or the initiative to say, okay, cool, I don't understand that. How can I understand it? Who will I need to get in contact with? What research can I do to learn that by myself? Proactivity is number 2. And number 3 is the skill of time management. How are your time management skills? What do you do in your free time? When you have some free period or idle periods of pockets of space, when you're traveling or, on the toilet seat, what are you getting up to? That's what I use in order to stay on top of my work that I do alongside football. So that's why, when I was going on coach away trips, whilst being a footballer to a match day, making sure I'm bringing all my uni work, my laptop with me to watch back lectures on the coach or start doing assignments on the coach, all these different things. These are what type of things that help me stay on top of it. And it's just putting in the work, man. It's hard work, but the hard work is really, really beneficial, and it's going to pay off in the long run. Like currently, right now, I'm currently balancing playing professionally for Maidenhead. I work at a school, I teach at a school. I also work and run my podcast, and I run a YouTube channel. So I do some guest speaking events in which I came back from today. That's why I'm looking like this, all sharp and that. So yeah, how I balance all these different things is just those 3 core pillars, having a good time management system and being disciplined with everything. So the biggest advice that I'd give to younger footballers who might have gone through similar things is you've got to make sure that football is not your be or end all. Like on my podcast, I always ask guests who have been on there, professional footballers, players who've played against people like Messi, Marcelo, all of that. The question I ask them is, who are you beyond football? If football was to be taken away from you, who would you be? What's your second plan A? So, younger footballers, they need to make sure that they're more than a footballer, that they have more strings to their bow, that they're doing things after they get home from training that's going to develop them holistically, it's going to make them into a well-rounded person and a well-rounded footballer. So that would be my biggest advice. This is where Beyond Football started, at Westham. So I was a first year pro at Westham. I just started my first year of my psychology degree at the University of East London, who are connected with Westham. And it was a difficult period because during the first couple of months of that degree, I was failing hard alongside being a pro at Westham. I remember my first assignment, I failed. I got 35%. And it was tough, and I was so close to just calling it a day, packing it in, not continuing on with my psychology degree and just focusing fully on football. But thankfully, I decided to continue on and just stick with it, which I'm so grateful for now. So in January 2021, I decided to create my YouTube channel and my podcast, titled my name, Daniel Jinadu, but with the central theme of Beyond Football. So my podcast is called the Beyond Football Podcast, and it's all about raising awareness of the importance of having an identity beyond football. And really and truly, I created my YouTube channel because at a point in time, there was no role models or older footballers, like professional footballers, who were balancing both football and further education and university. So I wanted to be that role model. I want to show people that it's beneficial, but not only that it's beneficial and that it's possible, but that it's necessary in order to be, a well-rounded footballer, a well-rounded, individual that will help you not only when you're playing, but also when you transition out at any age. And that can happen at any age. So my YouTube channel, on there, you guys can check it out there. It's literally just my name. It's just a documentation of my journey of balancing professional football and my university degree. So I got some days in the lives of me being at Westham, how I balanced that with my university degree, watching my lectures back. I've got match day vlogs where I got my GoPro in the goal, showing people the football side. And I also got where you've come along with me to exams that I've done alongside my football journey, and more and more great content on there. But also I got my podcast on there, on my YouTube channel, and it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. But my podcast is where I sit down with other professional footballers and just sports professionals, just with that central theme of highlighting the importance of having an identity beyond football. And it's that main question that we ask: who are you beyond football? We want to raise awareness, and at the company that I've started now, after 2 years of running the podcast and my channel, the central mission is to ensure that every footballer who comes through the academy system or plays football has a second plan A and is more equipped to handle life beyond football. And they're more than a footballer. So that's our mission, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, and that's why we want to keep on pressing on. But it's great to be back over here at Westham where it all started. I've actually played in that stadium, so I'm gassed, man. I'm gassed. 89% of footballers who come through the academy system, by the age of 21, they're not playing football anymore. 50%, another statistic for you. 50% of professional footballers who play in the Premier League, play in the EFL, have caps and caps, have played internationally. 50% of those players end up bankrupt or even divorced after they retire from football. There's been so many stories of, I can't remember his name, Wes Brown, David James, all these different stories of players who, focused solely on football, had some amazing careers, but failed to develop themselves beyond football. And they had football as their sole identity and didn't, put more of their eggs in multiple baskets. So that's why I'm so passionate about what beyond football is. We want to ensure that everyone has that second plan A, everyone has an identity beyond football, whether it's a passion project turned into a business, or whether or not it's just something, a skill, another string to your bow, so that when you retire or have a career-ending injury, you have something to fall back on. You have something to get you up in the morning. So that's why we can't. I've gone through a period of time where I had football as my be-all, end-all, and I can honestly say it was, one of the worst experiences of my life, because I was coming back home from training, had nothing to focus on. I wasn't playing during that period of time. It was tough. I had nothing else to give me a sense of purpose in life, and it can get really, really bad mentally. It can get very depressive. It's a lonely, isolated state that you can be in. So that's why I'm so passionate, because I felt it. And that's even why I created Beyond Football, because hearing stories, especially the one of Jeremy Winsten. Jeremy is a player who I grew up playing against when else he was at Man City and when I was at Chelsea. And he too, he was released at under 16 level by Manchester City. But after not finding a club, after a couple of months, he found it difficult. It's an experience that a lot of players find themselves in. But Jeremy ended up committing suicide and taking his own life. So that's what drives me. Those are the different things that makes me so passionate about beyond football and what we want to do to help players. Because it's not only beneficial to have an identity beyond football, but it's possible and it's so necessary for your entire well-being.